Pink noise. Can you mix with it? Hey, I'm Joe from Home Studio Corner. There's been this thing that people have been talking about, and a lot of people have asked me my opinion on it, and I've given my opinion, but I've never actually done it. So today I'm gonna do it, and we're gonna see if I like it or not. Now, the idea is to use pink noise, some sort of a noise generator, to help you set levels for your mix. So real quickly, let's make sure we're on the same page. Pink noise sounds like this. There's also white noise, which sounds like this. They're similar, but different. The main difference is all you're hearing is a bunch of different frequencies playing at the same time. With white noise, you're hearing all the frequencies at the same level. So you're hearing as much 20 hertz as you are 200 hertz. It tends to sound brighter because there are more frequencies as you go up the scale, right? It's a logarithmic thing. From 20 hertz to 200 hertz is only under 180 different frequencies, but it's a lot of ground to cover there, versus from 2 kilohertz to 20 kilohertz, that's 18,000 different frequencies, so you're going to hear a lot more of those. Pink noise is different because pink noise is equal energy per octave. So from 20 to 200 hertz is one level, and then from 200 to 2000, I think that's how it works. It goes in octaves as opposed to every single frequency being the same level. So it tends to sound more balanced. You can hear more low end, mid range, it's all fairly balanced.
Today I have a pretty special video for you.
Now, I don't know who was the first person to come up with this and do this, but this is the guy that I remember seeing. I'll link to the video. This is, I don't know what his name is, but basically he demonstrated it, and a lot of people really like it and really love it. And I've talked about how I don't love the idea, but come on, let's actually do it and see how it sounds. So I'm gonna dive into Studio One. Let's go see if we can make a mess of this. So the premise was this: if you run pink noise through a spectrometer, you'll see it's got a little bit of a slope to it. The upper frequencies are a little bit lower and the low frequencies are a little bit higher. When you compare this to a professionally mixed and mastered song, theoretically, the curve looks the same. Now, I'm not a big fan of doing anything based on what it looks like, but we're going to run with it for this video. So let me pull it up here. I've got a tone generator here that is producing pink noise on this track. I'm going to turn it down because it's really, really loud. So this is my song Fighter from the EP. So this is the full band version of Fighter, and I turned all the plugins off, so we've got just raw tracks with everything turned down to 0. So it's all routed to the main output, no plugins, just the raw tracks, and I've got a pink track over here on the right-hand side that I've got a tone generator on. Now, let's see, I don't know why that was turned out. Okay. The only thing is, if I set the pink noise level to 0 dB, it's really, really loud and uncomfortable. So I'm going to set it to a level that I'm comfortable mixing at, and that's going to be my starting point. So like negative 18 or so feels right. Now, the premise here is you take every track one by one and you turn it up until you can just hear it over the pink noise, and then you turn it back down. That's the idea. Turn it up to where you can hear it and then turn it back down. And the idea is it's going to create a balanced mix because everything is up to the level where you can hear it balanced against something that is fully and perfectly balanced, like a round of pink noise. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to speed up the video because you don't need to watch me do this part. I'll let you watch maybe the first one, and then I'll go through, fast forward to the end, and then we'll see how the mix sounds. So the idea is you're sitting here listening to this while you set your levels. So you listen to that, you push up one fader, and then you pull it, and then you mute it and move on to the next one. So you do each track individually, and then at the end, supposedly, it's going to be this nice balanced mix. I have my doubts, but I'm willing to try it. So here we go. Okay, timeout.
Timeout.
I'm editing this down and I realize I didn't explain that well. What dude on the video said to do was to take the track, turn it up until I can hear it over the pink noise, then slowly pull it down until it disappears. So that point where I can't quite hear it anymore, that's the level. And then do that on every track by itself muting everything but the track you're working on, and then that's your level for the mix. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so I'm done. That took, I don't know, 5 minutes. It felt longer because it's really not pleasant to listen to listen to that for any length of time. So even if it works, I'm not a fan of how just that didn't feel good. But let's try it. So I realized since the idea was to bring every track up and then bring it down till I could hear it, and then bring it down to where I couldn't hear it over the pink noise anymore. So this will probably be a pretty quiet mix because I started the pink noise fairly low level because I didn't want to listen to it that loud. So if I'll bring up the level on my mixer here overall, but what you're about to hear is the balance during that final chorus of that song of everything having only mixed it using pink noise to set the levels. Moment of truth. Let's see how it sounds. By the way, one more thing. I summed everything to mono, so I set all the levels in mono. I left the pans where they were in the mix, so I'll flip it to stereo in a second. But here is the mono static pink noise mix. A little part of me was afraid, or maybe even hoping that would have sounded amazing. It just doesn't. And there's a couple reasons why. First of all, if any track needs EQ, like for example, these background vocals here, these ooh and ahs that I have looping throughout the song, these. They're very thick and warm because I recorded them up on the microphone with the intention to EQ it all nice and bright and beautiful. But because of the way there's extra low end there in the tracks, I had to keep pulling them down against the pink noise to get them below that level because the raw tracks themselves aren't super balanced. They need some EQ. And then there are a bunch of amazing guitars in this song. You don't even hear them in the mix. And you just don't hear them. For whatever reason, they cut through the pink noise too much, and so I kept having to pull them down till I couldn't hear them, and the balance just isn't there. Now, I imagine on some styles of music, like if you're using a lot of samples and everything already sounds kind of mixed, maybe this would be an interesting way to set those levels. But for rock music, where everything should sound good at the beginning, but of course you're going to put in some EQ and some compression on different things. Like this loop sound for the drums, this thing where he was playing the sticks on the side of the kit and we picked it up with the room mics. It's super cool, but it's the loudest thing in the drum mix if you mix it this way. I mean, just listen to them all. Here are all the drums with those sticks. That's not a tasteful mix. Those are supposed to sit below the big, huge kick and snare. Now, I know the people who are advocates of this pink noise thing will say, yes, but you're gonna use compression and EQ to fix all the problems, and then if you did the pink noise, it would balance it. But you're telling me to mix the song, then ditch my entire balance and use pink noise to rebalance? I don't buy it. I bet for certain styles of music this might work well. It did not work well for me today. If it works for you, great. Absolutely. Fabulous. You can make a case for, Joe, your acoustic guitar shouldn't have been so boomy. That's why it's so low in the mix. You can make that argument. That's where we needed to mic it to get it full enough, knowing we could EQ out some of that extra low end to get a nice full sounding acoustic. Anyway, point being, I don't think it works for me, and bigger picture, I would much rather mix something using my innate musicianship of where levels should be, even though that's an ongoing, ever-learning process. I'd much rather do that than mix to something on a screen or mix to a formula or paint by number. You know what I mean? It takes the fun out. I do mixing because I enjoy it. I'm good at it, and I've become really fast at it, so I don't have to take all day, but I still want it to be a musical thing. I want to play this instrument well just as much as I want to play guitar well and sing well. And I don't feel like if I came up to you and said, hey, I've got this new pedal. You just play every note on your guitar, and then you just tell it what chords to play, and it'll play it, and you don't have to play it anymore. You would probably say, thanks, but I enjoy playing guitar, so I'm going to keep playing guitar and making music. That's my take on the matter. Love to hear your thoughts on this, your opinions. Has this worked for you? Has this not worked for you? Leave a comment below and let me know. Otherwise, for your outro music, I'm not going to play this. I'm going to play the actual album version of Fighter because I think it sounds a lot better. And if you like mixing and you want to get into more mixing that doesn't involve pink noise but involves actually using your ears to hear the balances, set the levels, do the EQ moves, the compression, all of that stuff, you need a process and you need to check out my 5-step mix guide. There's a link below for you to get that absolutely free. See you later. Bye.
Back up and fight. Get 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 back up and fight.